Welcome back to Crypto Meets AI. Jerry here with an update for you. Do me a favor, friends. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and comment down below. It really does help the algorithm. Now let's get into this. We're sitting at $3.08, trading within a range of 307 to 334. We're down about 6% on the day. We'll have to see where it goes from here. And the Bitcoin love triangle that shaped crypto. You've heard the sanitized history of Bitcoin, XRP, and XLM. But the real story, it's messier, more personal, and frankly, it's spicier than blockchain itself. Grab your popcorn. Jed McCaleb, coder, visionary, chaos agent. David Schwartz, cryptography genius, hair like a Norse god. Arthur Brittle, the quiet one with the real math. The fourth, brilliant, mysterious, and no longer with us. These four were more than colleagues. They were partners. Yes, you read that right. In the earliest days of Bitcoin's rise, the core four were in what a polite society calls a consensual open relationship. They shared code, they shared dreams, and they shared a lot more than that. Rumor has it that the first Bitcoin white paper drafts were written during these late-night meetups, equal parts cryptography and candlelight. Then came tragedy. The fourth fell ill, an aggressive STD. Within months, they were gone. The surviving three dug deeper into the tech, but suspicion began to creep in. Whispers spread, Jed was the vector. What started as trustless technology soon mirrored a trustless relationship. The breakup was inevitable. David and Arthur focused on building XRP, backed by the early Ripple team. Jed, furious, heartbroken, and plotting revenge. The Revenge Stellar XLM, a fork of the XRP concept, branded as open, decentralized, for the people. To the untrained eye, competition. To those that know, a lover's quarrel on blockchain. But wait, it gets messier. Enter Brad Garlinghouse. Before becoming Ripple's CEO, he and Jed were briefly an item. Brad's breakup with Jed was all by accounts amicable, until Brad took the Ripple CEO job. To Jed, it was betrayal layered on betrayal. Now you understand why XRP aren't just financial rivals. They're the crypto equivalent of Fleetwood Mac. So the next time you see a price swing between XLM and XRP, remember, you're not just watching the market mechanics. You're watching the aftershocks of a tangled web of code, love, loss, and the revenge that dates back to Bitcoin's creation. The ledger remembers everything. Disclaimer, this thread is fictional sarcasm based on a mashup of crypto history, conspiracy humor, and pure imagination. None of these events happened, at least not as described here. Treasury Secretary Bessent says the U.S. will not be buying Bitcoin. They will hold the Bitcoin they have and confiscate more, of course. Weird because I was promised a strategic Bitcoin reserve. It makes sense now why Bo Hines resigned, doesn't it?
We've got the large gold holding. I doubt we're going to revalue it, but we are going to keep it there, again, as a store of value for the American people. We've also started to get into the 21st century, a Bitcoin strategic reserve. We're not going to be buying that, but we are going to use confiscated assets and continue to build that up. We're going to stop selling that. I believe that Bitcoin reserve at today's prices is somewhere between 15 and 20 billion.
And Mr. Secretary, all of these ideas to monetize the asset side of the balance sheet of America, is that partly the beginnings of this sovereign wealth fund that you spoke about in your hearing back in January?
I think that these are all standalone ideas, and that as we get more into them, it will require legislation. We'll do it through statute to create a fund to hold these and to oversee them in a good way for the American people, for future generations.
I'm sorry to tell you, Bitcoin maxis, they're not buying Bitcoin. We all know it's controlled by China. Same with Ethereum. Just keep this in mind. Scott Bessent had one job to do, to sell the U.S. debt to the world. He's going to do it with stablecoins. His words, not mine. Here's exactly what he's got planned. A few months ago, Bessent said something that many people overlooked. I didn't overlook. I remember this quite well. We're going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that.
And I'm here to assure you that we are going to work with the controller of the currency, the IRS, and we're going to rescind and amend all applicable previous guidance. And we are going to put a lot of thought into the stablecoin regime. And as President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that.
The great thing about stablecoins is it's going to allow these countries that don't have access to normal dollars get access to them through, because most of these places have cell phones. They just don't have the actual banks there. So with blockchain technology and with stable coins, they can actually buy and hold US dollars. Before, they didn't have access to it at all. All right, that sounds cool, but what does it actually mean? Why stable coins and why now? Let's start with the why. Well, the US has no other options. Foreign nations are selling treasuries. The national debt is at a jaw-dropping $37 trillion, and BRICS nations are trying to establish a new currency. The U.S. had to do something or it'll lose reserve currency status. It's clear foreign governments want to be freed from their dollar shackles, but just because governments don't want the dollar doesn't mean their citizens don't. In fact, most people around the world want dollars really badly. But why? Because even though dollars are a great asset to hold, other fiat currencies are much worse. Argentina, for example, has an entire underground market where people exchange dollars just to keep them away from their failing Argentine peso. So where do stablecoins come in? The overwhelming majority of stablecoins worldwide are already backed by US dollars. Beyond that, bills like the Stable Act and laws like the Genius Act require stablecoin issuers to maintain a one-to-one reserve in either US treasuries or cash deposits. This means when other citizens of other countries buy digital dollars, the dollar supremacy strengthens. And as stablecoins become more widespread and accessible, more people will opt in. Whether or not Bessent's plan will be successful is anyone's guess. However, this is why you're seeing so much stablecoin legislation. But this is only a medium-term solution. At the end of the day, the U.S. is in $37 trillion of debt. Bessent's stablecoin plan would only delay the inevitable. So buy assets or get left behind. There you have it. Do you think Bessent's plan will work? If you found this information valuable, comment down below, share, like, and subscribe. The mystery mind of Joel Katz, Ripple Enigma. Most know him as Ripple's CTO. Few realize he's also the keeper of XRP's deeper secrets. For years, Joel Katz has dropped cryptic hints about XRP's future, some pointing to $10,000 plus prices. Let's jump down the old rabbit hole and see what we find. The 11,106.78 jackpot tweet. A random number, no context. Was it a playful nudge at possible XRP price targets or an inside reference? Some think it was a liquidity pool math joke. Others swear it's the real number when full utility kicks in. The Unicode symbol tweet, Joe posted this obscure symbol, no words. Turns out the character is not a knot, a math logic meaning a special interpolation point. To some, it's a wink to XRP's role as a unique global settlement bridge. Then the message lock in. In late 2021, Joel replied lock in to a comment about XRP. Did he mean prices? Did he mean Ripple's market position? To the XRP army, it was a sign to hodl before the big switch flips. The chessboard endgame. He posted an image of a chessboard almost at checkmate. No caption. Community interpreted it as Ripple being only a few moves away from total victory against the SEC and the old banking rails. The 0.006 origin. Joel revealed he bought XRP at 0.006. Not just a flex, also a subtle point. If early buyers saw Wex gains once, what stops it from happening again when global liquidity corridors open? The $10,000 in discussions, Joel explained purely hypothetically how XRP could reach astronomical prices if global settlement volume and liquidity demand exploded. Not a promise, but enough to fuel years of speculation. Sometimes it's better to say nothing. Right after major Ripple meetings, Joel tweeted this. The timing made people think he just witnessed something market shaking that he couldn't disclose. The pattern in his likes. Eagle-eyed followers spotted him liking posts with numbers like 5,000, 7777, often before unusual XRP price action. Coincident or coded signals? Joel Katz speaks in puzzles. Whether you believe these are coincidences or calculated breadcrumbs, one thing is certain. XRP's future is a game of deep strategy. And Joel, he's playing several moves ahead. And if you're sleeping on XRP right now, you're just going to hate yourself. Singapore just kicked off the tokenization era, and the XRP Ledger is built right into the foundation. When the liquidity flood hits, there's no second chance. Decide now, rich list or regret list. Which one will you be on? That's what I have for you folks. Until next time, stay savvy, stay stacking, and I'll catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and comment down below. And if you want more crypto deep dives, check out our videos right here on Crypto Mates AI. Thank you for watching. Remember to always do your own research. This is not financial advice.